special edition of Girlfriend Talk. I'm Shelley Emling, the editor of the weekly Girlfriend newsletter. I'm also in charge of Radiate Crate offering from the Girlfriend, which is a quarterly subscription box service that goes out to thousands of our Girlfriend subscribers and readers. So today, this is a special Girlfriend Talk. Today, we are so fortunate to welcome Laura Geller, who has been in the beauty business for 25-something years. She's been around the world, and we were so lucky that in the summer crate, we were able to share the Laura Geller Spackle primer right here, which we all love, and it's a fan favorite by far. So here's Laura Geller, the woman behind Laura Geller.
Welcome. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm so glad that you guys included Spackle in everybody's box. Yay!
As I said before we came on the air, that the reaction has been overwhelmingly positive. Everybody loves it. Have not heard one negative thing, which is really unheard of. So it's fantastic. But so I'd like to get started. Can you tell people a little bit about your background, how you got into the beauty business? I have done a lot of Broadway stars. Just tell us a little bit about your background.
Yes. So, I started, this is ironic that you're asking me this, very timely, because yesterday my high school guidance counselor came to my home and we reminisced how it all started. Because
Really?
in high school, I was set to go to college, but for nothing really meaningful. I really wasn't an academic student. I was a creative student, and I was set to go off to college, and I ran into a gal who was a very close friend who loved the business of hairdressing. And she said to me, Laura, I know how much you love makeup. Do you know that you could do it like maybe as a business? Why don't you come with me to beauty school? I mean, there's nothing wrong with a good vocation, right, Shelley? So I decided instead of college, I would pursue the passion that I had for makeup, not knowing I'd make a living at it, but knowing that it was something of interest to me. And so I went off to beauty school because you needed a license back then, a cosmetology license, to be able to touch somebody. So I had to go through the program, got licensed, and started in makeup from a very early age, like the age of 19 years old. But I wasn't satisfied because I lived in a suburb outside the city and I didn't feel like I was getting the real art of makeup artistry, just doing a private client here and there. So I went to Manhattan and I studied at School of Visual Arts. I studied theater and film makeup, and I didn't know what that meant, but I learned the real way, the real technique and artistry of applying makeup. And it sort of set me on a path where I started doing TV, film, and theater in the early years of my career. So I worked on some of the late greats like Audrey Hepburn and some of the most iconic women from back in the day. But then, of course, some very relevant women that are still very much, around, and Brooke Shields and Jane Seymour and just beautiful, beautiful Raquel Welch. And although it was exciting to work on celebrities, what was more meaningful for me was doing real women like myself from all ages, all socioeconomic, incomes and ethnicities. And so I decided that I would take it private and do makeup for private clients too. So I was doing both, so to speak. And I opened a makeup studio in Manhattan in 1993. And I had it for 21 years. And that's where it really all started.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned Audrey Hepburn. Breakfast at Tiffany's is her who's 21. It's her favorite movie and my favorite movie. So that's amazing.
Really? Oh my God, who doesn't? It's true. All generations know Audrey Hepburn. I mean, she was much older when I did her, but I must say she was just that beautiful feminine lady that we all remember her, and just a very heartfelt woman.
So you like makeup as a little girl, or did you play around with your mom, or when you were in high school, did you really?
Shelley, it's so interesting. It's a question I get asked a lot, and I was fascinated by it. You know why? Because I used to see some of the women in the neighborhood I grew up in, that it was very transformative for them. Like, I couldn't believe some, like two or three of the mothers, I'll leave them nameless, but they
Yeah.
would make up before they were going to a special event. And I'd think, whoa. And then when it was like my sweet 16 and my prom, my mom didn't wear a lot of makeup. She was very natural woman and a little lipstick and some pancake makeup she wore back in the
Yeah.
day. But these women would do my makeup for those occasions. And listen, I was fascinated by it. Again, I didn't know that I could have a career in it. And I
Yeah.
think, a lot of people would have said, no, you can't. And I knew that for me, I needed to get a vocation because doing something else, which would not have been of interest to me, was not the path I wanted to go down.
Right.
Fortunately for me, it worked out.
Yeah. So I want to get to the primer, but I love your advertising, and I know that you feature women, I think 40 in all of your advertising. And I know, I've seen Fran Drescher and Patricia Heaton and,
That's right.
these older stars.
Yeah.
What's been the reaction to that campaign, and why did you choose to go that route?
Well, it was interesting because we knew our demographic skewed to 40 plus, but we were always on a mission to be all inclusive. And
Mhm.
also, we wanted to get a younger generation. And so, while we always had, I always say from 19 to 90 below and beyond, we decided that it was time that we leaned into who we really were and who was responsive most to our brand. And that
Right.
was women over 40. And to me, that's very young. So just saying, it's all relative, right? And so when we leaned in, Shelley, I have to tell you, it's very hard in this day and age to keep a brand relevant when you've been around as long as my brand has been, which is
Right.
25 years. I mean, there are celebrities putting their names to their brands now, and they're good, they're fine, they're wonderful. But so, how do you stay relevant? You have to know who your customer is, and you have to
Right.
embrace her and lean into her and speak to her and him, by the way. So, we do. That's exactly what we're doing.
So has the response been completely positive? People just love it?
Listen, the response is so overwhelming that I'm going to be honest, in the last couple of years, in the last 3 years, we are doing gangbusters. And also, we're being approached by not just celebrities like Patricia Heaton and Fran Drescher, but there are some others that you'll see. So stay tuned coming up. But we're being approached by young influencers who are covering our products, our new launches. I mean, it is so mind-boggling to
Wow.
me. We've always had a steady stream of business, but all of a sudden there's this whole new revolution going on with the brand. So I think it all has to do with leaning into the 40 plus customer.
If people don't have a lot of time to stay on this interview, I just want to know. So, for somebody that's never used the primer, or not yours always primer, what would you say you best use this?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that we call ourselves the pioneer of primers because I was one of the first to ever come to market. I mean, well more than 2 decades ago with makeup primer. And I think a lot of people still don't know how to use it or want to use it because they see it as another step. This is ammunition. This is arsenal against your makeup fading. So if you're going to wear any makeup, whether it's foundation, maybe it's just blush, and you're not
Right.
using a primer, you're not giving your skin the chance to have makeup that lasts longer. Basically, it's the last thing you do before you put on concealer, foundation, blush, whatever you do, whatever your routine is. This is the last thing you do. And all you do is pump a little out, a little goes a long way, and you just apply it all over. It should not go on the eyelids, but it can go under the eyes because it stops concealer from settling into any lines. It stops foundation from settling into the marionette lines. It's
That,
amazing.
that's what I like because I have those lines. So it's
We
helpful. Yes,
earned those lines, Shelley. We earned them.
that's true. That's true. So I'm curious as to, I'm in my late 50s. So as time goes by, the dates go on. Do you see something that older women do wrong, I guess, over and over again, a mistake that they continuously make?
Yeah, it's funny. Again, very timely because when my guidance counselor was here, I said, you're not wearing blush. And she goes, oh, no, it looks too dry on me. I just do this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, you could do that and you'll get a little color flowing in your cheeks for about 5 seconds. I see that a lot of people shy away from blush because they're afraid they're going to look like a clown. But
Right.
blush today is different than blush of yesteryear. I think women need color. It's what makes you look
Yeah.
vibrant and youthful. So you got to wear blush. And the other thing I'd say is, as you age, depending on your skin conditions, whether you're dry or oily or combination, you have to know and recognize what texture you should be wearing for your foundations. So as you get more mature and more dehydrated, you need to go to liquid foundations that are sort of more malleable and move with your skin as opposed to drier foundations. But we have a whole line of baked foundations out of Italy that
Yeah.
really go on like a powder, but they're not powders, so people love them too. But you really have to recognize your own skin and lean into that. That's really
Yeah.
important.
So besides the primer, I mean, what would you recommend somebody never be without? An older woman.
An older woman should never be
That's going
without
to be the primer.
primer, blush. I would say fill in your brows. If you've lost your brows, or you have a very full brow, get them shaped because they frame your eye. And so, if you don't have brow, learn how to put a little pencil. Don't be afraid of it. It makes such a difference. I have a 3E philosophy, and the 3Es are eyebrow, eyeline, and eyelash. If you always keep that in mind, your eyes will always look open, even if you don't have eyeshadow on.
Oh, I love that advice. The three E's. That's great.
The three
So
E's.
the three E's. So I was wondering, I mean, what advice would you have for other entrepreneurs, like focusing on the mature woman market?
Well, I mean, for entrepreneurs, I have tons of advice. If you're talking about entrepreneurs that are leaning into working with the mature market, listen, it doesn't hurt. I'm 64. So, and I also work with women of all ages that are older and younger than me. So you have to really know the needs of what they want and what they're missing and find out how you can solve a problem and come up with a solution that will make their life easier. That's what AARP does every day of my life, just so you know. And I'm so excited about the girlfriend talk now. I mean, I considered reading both and leaning into both. But really, for entrepreneurs, it's finding where the white space is and filling it because I think everybody thinks their idea is clever. But if you didn't do your homework and find out that other people may have your idea too, then you really
Yeah,
haven't innovated. I say innovate, don't imitate.
another good one. So tell us a little bit about your relationship with QVC and where people can
Oh,
find.
yeah, thank you for asking about that. So QVC is really what changed my trajectory 25 years ago. We're celebrating 25 years now. They discovered me and they put me on air in 1997. And I was a sole proprietor of a store in Manhattan doing makeup for weddings on the weekends, celebrities during the week. I was working too hard for not enough. And QVC came into my life and they even taught me, what sets you apart? What makes you different? How are you innovating? And they push me all the time till this day. They push me and say, what are you bringing us next? Tell us about your next innovation. And I have to do my homework and look at what the other brands, my competitors, have and make sure that I'm doing something uniquely different.
Right.
So I thank QVC for setting me on a trajectory that really opened up a career that I could have never dreamed of when I was 19 years old.
Are there other business women that you really look up to that inspire you or
Yeah,
that
I
have
mean,
inspired you over the years?
listen, I'm going to tell you, when I went into the business, I read Estee Lauder's books. She inspired me. She started in a makeup counter in a salon. So did Adrienne Arpel. For those of you who don't know who that is, she's another pioneer with her own line. But I watched people, I think that's important too, is know what you're doing and find out who did it right and who could mentor you and read up on them and read their books, learn the mistakes they made. Of course, most of the mistakes that were made along the way for me, you can't learn in a book. You have to go through it. And let me tell you, there were a lot of them. How much time do you have? But I really, those were the women who I looked to: Elizabeth Arden, Georgette Klinger. They all paved the way to make women be able to go into this industry and create a successful business.
Right. I think you mentor a lot of business women, don't you? Aren't you part of the AS Beauty parent company that focuses on female entrepreneurs? Is that right?
Well, AS Beauty is the parent company that owns my brand and a few other brands. But Cosmetic Executive Women is an industry organization that mentors and does, has mentorship programs if you're going into the beauty industry. It doesn't have to be just makeup. It could be hair, skin, nails, AS Beauty doesn't have a program like that, but they are brilliant because they work closely with me in their marketing, in all of their product. We do, this is a collaboration I do on a regular basis with them. And they're a group that understands the brand, and that is very critical too.
So I have a daughter who's 21, and I know a lot of her friends, they seem to be kind of shying from wearing makeup. I'm just going to be honest with you. My daughter and her friends are all about going natural and getting away from the makeup. Do you find that do you see that in the younger generation, that they're sort of saying, why are you wearing all that makeup? You don't need makeup. I'm going to be natural.
I'm going to tell you something. My son's 22. He just turned 22 this year. I'm a single mom by choice. And he has many friends, women friends, young women friends, and they're not makeup people. But guess what? They're still obsessed with it. They still want to know what the latest highlighter is. I was at an event the other night, and I could not tell you how many young women in that age group were coming up to me, and they were like, oh my God, you're known for your primer. You're known for your Gilded Honey highlighter. So just like women of a mature age, 40 plus, we like it, we buy it, we're interested in it. We don't wear it often enough, but we'll put a little. But yes, the trend toward natural is much more prominent right now than it's ever been. But I love that because we're not a heavy makeup brand. So we really appeal to the natural young clients. So thank you for your daughter and her friends, because they are my customer too.
So what's your skin when you're taking your makeup off? I'm just curious at night. What do you use to, any kind of creams or anti-wrinkle? I don't know what. What are your go-to products?
That's a loaded question, because it's not just products, it's devices too. Being in the industry, I have dermatologist friends, skincare friends, device friends. So first things first, you got to take the makeup off at night. And I'm guilty as charged. There are times I just can't. So I'll use a white. Yeah. By the way, last night was one of those nights. I used, we even have wipes, but you can get them from any brand, makeup remover wipes. So when you're lazy, keep them by the side of your bed and at least just lay down and do that and take off your heavy makeup, or very little makeup. I like to use exfoliation a couple times a week. I have a thicker skin. I had a more acneic skin when I was young. I had breakouts. So I like feeling like I'm using something that sloughs the dead skin away. But retinoic acid, anything with salicylic acid, I would recommend young women start using at even 40 or even, 30, not in their 20s necessarily, because it will ward off aging when they're older. They may not think so, but it makes a big difference. I use an eye cream, and I do the whole orbital area, and I use a moisturizer every night. And for devices, I use like a vacuum that vacuums up my pores. Like QVC has all this stuff. So I'm no different than my customer. I watch and then I'm like, I gotta have that vacuum for my face. I dermaplane my face. My friend
Really?
Dara owns a device called Dermaflash. Oh my God, guys, look it up. I take it
No, what
and
is
it's
that?
like,
What does that do? Tell me what that does exactly.
so it's a handheld device that has a blade that you put on, and then you
Yeah.
go the opposite direction on a 45-degree angle. All the peach fuzz on the face that you didn't think you had, or maybe you have and you don't know how to remove, comes off. So it exhibits and reveals this beautiful soft skin, but it also removes and exfoliates automatically the dead skin, and you're left with this glowy skin. You don't have to do it more than once a week. But
Right.
I sometimes, one piece of advice I would give everybody, Shelley, do you stand or do you sit when you do your makeup?
I stand. I'm in the bathroom standing up. No?
So if you're
Uh-oh, I'm in
standing,
trouble.
bad girl. So most people stand, but I tell everybody sit, have the mirror really close to you. So not in your bathroom where you're leaning over into a mirror where you can't really get a good grip on doing your makeup. But if you sit and you need a magnification mirror, I do.
Yeah.
I have the magnification mirrors that are regular on one side, 10 times on the other. You will most likely be more inclined to want to do your makeup because you're relaxed, because you're sitting, and you
Right.
will do a better job. It will look better because if you look in that magnifying mirror, as scary as it may be, if you look good in magnifying, you're going to look good in broad daylight. Just saying.
You get facials? I'm curious. Do you go to a spa and get regular facials?
Oh, me, yes. Oh, no, I don't think facials. I hope nobody's listening. That's not to me, unless you don't do enough skincare on your own, yes, you should get a facial. But to me, a facial is just someone applying cream after cream after cream and not really making much of a difference. I go to spas for massages. But unless it's a facial done at a doctor's office where they know how to extract, comedones and milia and really do more of a skincare kind of facial. Just going into a fluffy place where everything smells good and you love the feeling, it's really not
Yeah.
making a big impact on your
Right.
skin.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So
True.
just more questions. So I know you went over the three E's, but I mean, one do and one don't. Women over 60. What's you should do? One thing you should not do.
Okay. Do wear blush. Most women over 60 are wearing, like, they'll use bronzer because they think it looks like easier and warmer, but they don't put on pink and rosy colors because they think it's old fashioned. But that's what's going to
Right.
make you look younger. Change your foundation from anything drying to something more creamy and hydrating. Of course,
Okay.
wear primer because that will do that. Even if you're
Yeah.
wearing drying foundation, the primer is going to make your skin look hydrated and feel better. And
Right.
careful with your lipstick. Far too often you get to an age where your lipstick starts to feather and migrate. And certain colors and formulas, Shelley, they
Yeah.
start migrating and coming out of all orifices you didn't even know you had around your mouth. So maybe put a lip liner after, maybe put on, we even have something called Spackle eye primer, but I use it around my lips. That stops my lipstick from feathering. Or get a lipstick that doesn't really transfer and migrate on you, because so many times I see women and they wear brighter colors when they get older because we need
Yeah.
a little bit more color, but it's
Yeah.
kind of all over their mouth. So be
Or
careful
on
with
their
that.
teeth. On the teeth too, right?
Yeah, by the way, it was on my teeth today when I was on air, and usually the producer will be like, it's on your teeth. But they didn't tell me today, and I was like, oh boy, I hope nobody noticed that. It's just because I have an overbite too. So the other
Yeah.
trick to that, I know that's kind of disgusting, is put your finger in your mouth and
Yeah.
pull it out, and all the excess lipstick will be on your finger, and wipe it off.
Oh, very good. Okay. And I'm guessing you said the eyeliner too is important, and the mascara
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you're going to do eyeliner, maybe you're not great at it, just do the top, but don't only do the bottom. I find a lot of women will do just the bottom because it seems easier for
Yeah,
some
I do
reason.
that. You should do the top
Really?
too. Yeah,
Well,
I
you
really do.
must
That's
feel
all I
like
do.
I'm really lecturing you today, Shelley, huh? I'm
Just now I'm
sorry about
warning.
that.
I have done the top, but I get lazy. But you should do the top, right? It
The
makes a big
top's more
difference.
important. The top
It opens
is
your
more,
eyes.
it really frames the eye more than the bottom one does. And if you're going to do mascara, do both the top and bottom. If you're going to do eyeliner, do top and bottom, because the whole idea behind eyeliner really is to frame your eye so your eye comes forward. And if you're only doing the bottom or only doing the top, you're really not framing the whole eye.
Right. So two
I
more
mean,
things. So
yeah, go
what's
ahead.
next for you in these next 5 years or so? What do you have planned? What's next on your bucket list?
Well, as long as everybody still wants me around and I continue to be relevant, I hope to stay with QVC and keep innovating. So, my mission, in fact, after our talk today, I'm headed Midtown to go to a presentation by one of our Italian manufacturers to find things that are quick, easy solutions that are uniquely different. So, innovation and product development will always be my thing, but I secretly have this wish to teach and lecture, and whether it be on makeup or it be on entrepreneurial things and what are mistakes to avoid and what path to go down. I feel like I'm such a wealth of knowledge just from having walked the path that I have a lot to impart, but I don't know how I'm going to do it or where or what, but I want to do it.
And I'm sure you will do it.
I
So
hope
I
so.
always ask. So the girlfriend is really all about the power of female friendship. So I always ask everybody I talk to, when you're not doing your job and your business and running all the things that you're doing, what do you like to do for fun with your friends?
Well, tomorrow night I'm going to see Diana Ross at Radio City Music Hall. So that's
Oh,
fun. I'm going to dinner with my
wow.
close gal pals, and then we're headed to Radio City. I love traveling with my closest friends. The last 10 years, every 5 years, we went to Antigua and had a house, and there were 10 of us, all my friends from growing up. So
Wow.
it's really, it's making an excuse to get together, saying, oh, we turned 60, we have to go away. Oh, we're turning 65 next year, let's go away when we're 65. Find an excuse to bring your friends together, because nothing fills your soul more than those girlfriends.
That's very true. I'm just curious, when you think about, I'm guessing you've been overseas various times, do you think Italian women have it right? Who's got it on when it comes to the way they look?
I think, let's face it. I mean, Paris, Italy, they're very fashion forward. I would say they take more of a risk in fashion in Europe than we do here. I think we're catching on. But when it comes to, being pulled together, um, top tip to top, I would say, the East Coast, I would say here in the States, New York, you come here for inspiration all the time. It's Fashion Week now, and, it's where I
Yeah.
get my inspiration from.
Well, thank you so much, Laura Geller, for joining us. And we are so appreciative that this Spackle primer was in the summer crate. As I
Thank
told you,
you.
everybody's reaction has been so positive. They're all trying it. Many of them had already used it before, and they were so glad to have it again. And a lot of people are
Oh,
like, I'm going to check out Laura Geller's many other products because this one was so fantastic. So
thank you.
thank
We
you for
won't disappoint you. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. I hope a great day, you're going to a presentation now, I think. So have a great day and the rest of your week. I appreciate you joining us so very much.
Oh, thank you, Shelley. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the good work you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.